Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I want to start you off with an animation, and before I click play, I want you to notice something with me. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4 large low pressure systems that are all lined up here in this wave train across, parts of the Gulf of Alaska into the western United States and out into the open Pacific. And this is just a pattern I really wish we would have seen a whole lot more during the winter, because this is a pattern that's active. It brings us in all the snow. It brings us in, the atmospheric rivers. It's really what we wanted to have seen a lot during winter. But instead now we're getting it at this point of the year, which is June. And to see this kind of activity in June, not that it's rare, but it was sorely missed at certain times throughout the year, especially over the past winter. Now here's something I want you to kind of listen in on and try to understand with me. What we've got here is you have two separate low pressure systems, and you see one that's sitting here off the tip of the Aleutian Islands, one that just moved into the shore, but another one waiting kind of just to the east of it, plowing through the Gulf of Alaska. Now, why I'm talking about these two specific low pressure systems is because it seems that right now the placement of a low over the Aleutian Islands seems to signal wetter conditions moving in to parts of the Pacific Northwest especially. Which means if this low moves, okay, watch it again animate here. If that low moves, I think it's going to mean a pretty big change in the overall weather patterns we're going to be seeing across the western part of the United States. So when does it move and why does it move? Those are some of the big questions we got to answer. A couple of quick statistics for you here though. Look at where May 2020 ranked in terms of precipitation. So remember, we have a 126-year record here. It goes back to 1895. And you can see how, we were in the wetter half of things for parts of California, Oregon, Washington, and getting into parts of Idaho, whereas parts of the Intermountain West were very, very dry. Arizona coming in at 40 there. Utah at 7 on that ranking. So wet May, and we're going into now a wet part of June. So this is a 10-day forecast. And take a look at this. When we look out at this time period, because of the lineup of the storm systems in the North Pacific, we're going to continue, if you just kind of draw a line north of there, seeing above average precipitation. Now, it's the time of year where we just can't. It's very difficult to get rainfall down here into Southern California. But if you look up in parts of coastal Oregon and Washington, quite a bit of rainfall. We may even sneak a few showers into the Columbia Basin, which is very rare this time of year as well, outside of some thunderstorm activity. Snake River Basin looks relatively dry during this time period, but pretty stormy throughout much of Montana. Now, we compare it all to normal. We can see this map, which again shows us only differences from normal over the next 10 days. So when we're talking about 1 inch to 2 inches of additional precipitation through this part of coastal Oregon and Washington, and then above average precipitation getting over here, over towards Spokane, getting into the northern parts of Idaho and into the British Columbia. This is a pretty active pattern, because normally what we're really concerned about this time of year is being too dry. So let's watch it all come in. There's that low. See the big push of moisture coming into the Pacific Northwest? This is the setup I think we're going to have to watch very carefully. Playing it forward, let's just pause it here and walk you back. Ready? So throughout the day today, getting into the overnight hours, just a general unsettled pattern here, showers and possibly some thunderstorms moving in throughout the day on Tuesday. This is in the northwest. As we work our way into Wednesday midday, getting into Wednesday evening, again, we see right here along the coast our best chances of showers and some wetter weather. Now, as we work to Thursday and into early Friday, things tend to be a bit more calm. But watch how things evolve over the weekend. So this is now getting into Friday morning, afternoon, and evening. Now here comes that next low, Saturday morning, afternoon, and evening. And there it is, pushing in again, giving us yet another stormy and unsettled weekend with cooler weather and cloudier weather. Which each one of these systems, too, we bring up the chances of having some stronger winds, too, as it sweeps through. So working our way through Saturday night into the morning hours on Sunday, we again have quite a bit of activity here in the Pacific Northwest for this time of year. Now, does it calm down as we go out into week 2? Well, the models keep it on here through early next week into parts of the Northwest. But you do notice that once I get out here into, next Wednesday, see the high pressure cell now? It seems to be blocking things up a little bit. And I think we're about to see a shift in that Aleutian Island low, and we better talk about that, okay? Because as I get out to day 10, do you notice how the low is here, not sitting over there? And what that's done is that's pushed a ridge closer to the west coast of the United States. The trough that was sitting over us is now sitting here over parts of Montana. So what does that mean for week 2 precipitation? Well, this is now going to be the unsettled region in through here. Both the European and the GFS looking at near average to wetter than average conditions as we sweep that trough through. And things go back over toward what I would call seasonable for the West Coast, especially the Pacific Northwest. Now, as we see what this does to our temperatures, I want to bring up just some data here. And this is really representative of a lot of the West Coast of the United States. We're at the Madeira, I think that's how you say it, Municipal Airport in California. And what I've got is from January 1st all the way through the end of the year, what the normals are. So if you're down here, these are the record lows, these are the record highs. These lines right in through here represent what the normal range in temperature is. And then each one of those blue bars going up and down is a high at the top of it and a low at the bottom for any given day. Now, if I get my drawings off there, this is what I want to point out to you. We did have a cool April, that was clear. But whenever the temperatures really start skyrocketing back up, they're immediately met by drops. So it comes way up and then comes back down, comes way up here, almost setting record high temperatures, and then drops back off. And so we've been on just this up, down pattern. What it's not done is it's not just gone up here and stayed up here. And the question is it going to be doing that? And that's certainly a question I'm going to be answering in my long-range forecast for tomorrow. But watch this in the near term. Well, today, cool in the northwest. Temperatures go back over towards seasonable, though, in the Central Valley of California. A lot of low 90s. Watch as things progress from Tuesday into Wednesday, though. Now we're talking about getting back up here, possibly in the southern part of like the San Joaquin Valley, maybe upper 90s, lower 100s. Still more heat down here in and around Phoenix. And we talked about Phoenix last time, just pouring on the heat continually here. But as we go back, watch this again with me. Pause it right here. Whoops. Try that one more time. There we go. And as we look out to Wednesday, watch Thursday's highs. Now we're talking about possibly a lot of triple-digit heat down here, especially in the San Joaquin Valley and mid to upper 90s through the rest of the Central Valley of California. But as we talked about, Thursday into Friday, the next wave comes in, cooling things off. So the heat just doesn't stay on. And as we go into the next weekend, as that broader trough pulls in, we go back here to temperatures that may be in the low 80s with 60s and 70s up here in the Pacific Northwest. We just can't seem to be able to keep on the heat, but it rebounds again by next Monday, the 15th. See it? Now we're back up in the middle upper 90s, and the heat's back on down here in parts of Arizona as well. So I just see this pattern kind of repeating itself in the near term, but asking myself, is it going to break? Now, overall, when we look, we saw that we favor a cooler bias in the Pacific Northwest, hence lower evaporation rates. But in the Central Valley of California, these numbers in through here, where we're looking at 1.5 inches to 2+ inches, that's actually quite normal. The values are very high down here in the desert Southwest, though, evaporating over 3 inches of water in the next week. Okay, what are temperatures doing beyond this? So this is day 6 through 10. That trough comes in, keeps it cool in the northwest, seasonable in California. Okay, again, this is that same pattern going warm to cold, because watch this. That's 6 to 10. This is 11 to 15. The European warms things back up. The GFS is just a little bit later with it, so it's seeing near average temperatures. But once again, this kind of seesaw nature back and forth here is continuing with our temperature pattern. So, as I told you, what I'm going to watch carefully is to see if the models do have this right. Because now when we look out here at the end of the month of June, the 23rd and 24th, instead of having the trough here over the Aleutian Islands, it's here almost in the Gulf of Alaska. And if that's the case, it pushes a ridge. And if that ridge sets up in this area, that's going to keep the heat on as we finish the month of June and start the month of July. And that's what I want to finish on in this video. June 27th through July the 4th, while precipitation patterns look near average, we do see well above average temperatures being advertised in the models as we work our way out to the end of this month and the start of the next one. In fact, it's the whole of the United States experiencing warm weather at that particular point. So keep an eye on this. We have a lot to be paying attention to, and I'll be discussing my long-range update what my feelings are on the behavior of the North Pacific, or really what my scientific thought is, not my feelings. My feelings make no difference of what it is, but I'll be looking at that, telling you what I think is going to happen there in the North Pacific and how that's going to affect our long-range forecast. All right, have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. Thanks.